At the top of this program, we told you about President Tinubu's stated intention to tackle headlong the menace of oil theft, which has reached critical levels in recent times on Nigeria's maritime domain. Beyond noble intentions, however, how prepared is the president for the task of dismantling the traditional rackets that have sustained this act of economic sabotage for decades? Dumebi Kachikwu, the former presidential candidate of African Democratic Congress, is also a businessman with substantial stakes in the media. He joins us now to have a chat. Good morning, Mr. Kachikwu. Good to have you again.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me again.
You're more than welcome. Sorry, let's talk about something that continues to worry a lot of Nigerians. Yes, the discussion largely has been about subsidy removal. But the other part of the worry has been the case of oil theft. Just a few days ago, there were reports in the media about how Tom Polo's security outfit, which of course, as you know, is under federal government contract to monitor the oil wells, etc., reportedly seized a vessel. But of course, the Navy has come out to make some critical clarifications about the fact that it wasn't Tom Polo and about the fact that there was no stolen oil. But of course, if we go back to even July, there was another interception by security forces, which involved a massive vessel with stolen crude, the MT Tura 11 at Escravos. This is something, as you know, that we have been dealing with for years, for decades. And it looks like Nigeria actually loses more money to oil theft than even to a subsidy, according to a report a few years ago by NITI. What do you think we're doing wrong? And why do you think that this persists? And what would be the advice to the new president who seems genuinely worried about the issues that the oil sector is encountering?
Well, what's happened in Nigeria is what most Nigerians know, and that's the fact that Nigeria, by and large, is a scam. The reality is that those people, some of our elites, some of the people in corridors of power, are the people behind the massive oil theft going on in the Niger Delta region. Every government has known this, but because these people are so influential, these people sponsor their elections, these people are in the corridors of power, these people continue to perpetrate this crime against the Nigerian people. This is a litmus test for our current president. I believe that his presidency will stand or fail by how he deals with the issue of oil theft, considering that Nigerians are reeling from the after effects of the removal of subsidy. You can't remove subsidy on one hand, trying to show up your revenue on the other hand to deal with the exchange rate at this point, so you can sell more oil. And just a few individuals are the ones cutting away this oil. What happened 2-3 days ago with the Navy is shocking. To find out that a vessel was boarded by Tantita, and the documents of this vessel said that the vessel was supposed to be going from Lagos to Koko. That's the document from the NMDPRA. Whereas the document from the Navy said this vessel is supposed to be going from Koko to offshore Lagos. The master of this vessel, when asked, what is the destination of this vessel, he said this vessel is going to Bonny. I am therefore shocked that the Navy, knowing all this, released a statement to give the all clear that there's nothing wrong with that vessel, considering the discrepancies in the papers of this vessel. That's number one. Number two, this vessel had in its tank illegally refined AGO. That means it came from one of those illegal refineries. Yet the Navy said there's nothing wrong with this vessel. This vessel had what Tanta operatives described as crude oil. The scam going on now in that area is that these people, what they do is that they get documents from places like Niger Delta Refinery and other places to say that they are carrying HPFO, which in density probably looks like crude oil. And they use these papers to perpetrate the fraud that is going on. Tantita caught one vessel 3 days ago. Do you know how many vessels that escaped that same day? At least 30 vessels. Do the math and see what's happening in Nigeria. For the last 2 decades, for every vessel that has been caught with stolen crude, they have a naval permit. For every single vessel that has been caught, they have a naval permit. Now, several times, Arise and other media houses have reported about vessels that were caught, apprehended. Yet what happened? The vessels disappeared under the watch of the Navy. What exactly is going on? What exactly is going on? We also heard in the media 2 days ago that the naval commander who was threatening Tantita operatives was said to be talking to people in the hierarchy of the Navy here in Abuja, speaking directly to them. The hierarchy of the Navy there above him in Delta State did not know what was going on. He was communicating to Abuja. Why? What exactly is going on? And if you now hear the names behind the ownership of this vessel, you will be amazed. You understand the scam that's going on in Nigeria. Last month, Ibenko Global Link, the illegal refinery, one of the biggest that has been discovered in Nigeria, they were apprehended last month. The place was shut down. Have you heard that anyone has been prosecuted? No. Go and dig deep and find out those people behind the ownership of Ibenko Global Link. Find out those people who have used that yard to operate, and then you understand what's going on in Nigeria. It's going to be extremely difficult for us as a nation to move forward if we don't go behind this cartel. Just the same way we ought to go after the cartel behind subsidy, we ought to go after these people. They are around us. They are the big men around us in flashy cars, big houses, and what have you. But this is what they do for a living. Investigate, look deeper, and you'll be shocked. A few months ago, Tom Polo threatened to expose the people in the Navy and all the people behind this. And I know what went on before they calmed that down so that names were not released. Last year, Sterling Global, the Indians who ran from India and are operating in Nigeria, they were caught with 2 vessels loaded with crude oil. Have you heard anything? With stolen crude oil. Have you heard anything about it till today? Absolutely nothing. It died in the office of the former NSA. Absolutely nothing. This is Nigeria for you. This is the reality of our situation.
Earlier, you were, talking about the issue of the, vessel that was recently accused of carrying crude. Now, the owners of that vessel has, threatened to take legal action against, the security services, Tom Polo, saying that no crude was found in that vessel. But however, oil theft has proven to be just as bad for the economy, or even worse than, the petrol subsidy that we've all been talking about. In spite of the presence of Tom Polo and all others, we've seen reports of collusion with security agencies, either with the Nigerian military. Asari Dokubo even went to the presidency to accuse the military of aiding and abetting oil theft. Now, how justified is his claim in the light of recent events?
It's very, very true. It's very clear. We all know it is an open secret. We all know that this is what's going on. You imagine a situation where vessels can leave with stolen product out of the shores of Nigeria without the Navy seeing them. Is it possible? Without the Navy being part of it or understanding what's going on? Absolutely not. It's a crying shame what is going on in Nigeria, and the people are suffering, and a few people benefit from this, and there's no high-profile name that has been prosecuted in the last 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. But I'm telling you, some of the richest people in our society, some of the people who own all the skyscrapers, who use private jets, this is what they do for a living. Some of them make as much as $3 to $5 million a day from these activities. and Nigerians are suffering. Some of them are richer than the Nigerian nation. They make more money from these activities than the Nigerian nation. And because of the quantum of money that these people have, they can influence any process. That's why it's difficult for any government to go after these people. We are hoping, and I keep on saying that Asiwaju's administration will be judged by how he reacts to this last incident. That the Navy have come out in a public statement to give the all clear concerning this vessel, whereas all the documents that this vessel has points clearly to the fact that there's something wrong. The president's reaction to this issue will say a lot about how he intends to tackle the menace of oil theft in the region. Tantita, we understand since they took over these security services that the nation's production has increased by as much as 400,000 barrels a day. That is significant. It says a lot. Now, can you imagine if all the security services were working together with them to ensure we put a stop to this menace? Do you know the benefit that will come to Nigeria as a nation? We must continue to speak strongly about this. We must ensure, because you know what I've heard? People believe that in a day or two, we won't hear anything about this anymore, just like Tora and just like Ibenko and just like all the rest that have been arrested. It will come to a natural end. The media won't speak about it. We'll move on to the pressing problems of the day, and that's it. And these people go away with their money, but it must not stop. I think we must continue asking questions every day till we see a prosecution, till we see a sack, till we see that government has taken concrete steps to ensure that the Nigerian nation must no longer continue to be defrauded by a few individuals. This is what we must do.
All right, Dumebi, that's very good. But I mean, you're very correct to say that we just must continue to talk about this. I made a reference to the report by 90 the other time, earlier in the program, and I would like to return to it just to emphasize, so that you can speak to it, why oil theft is probably even more deadlier and wasteful to the Nigerian pocket than even the subsidy that we've been talking about, which of course has been removed. You know that the report that 90 released showed that between 2009, I'm sure you'll be familiar with it, and 2022, which is just 11 years, Nigeria lost crude oil estimated at about 16.25 trillion. That's from 90. 11 years. And then subsidy, Nigeria spent a total of 13 trillion. But between 2005 and 2021, 16 years. 9 years of oil theft only, 16.25 trillion. Subsidy, which of course about 30 to 40% of it were directly felt by Nigerians, because what government did was to subsidize high cost of petrol, and the other ones stolen, as government, has been saying. So my question to you is that we know the bigger evil, but yet here we are. It doesn't look as if the government has the capacity, and I'm not just talking about Asiwaju's government, which is just 2 months plus. I'm saying successive administrations. What is it with our government that it is unable to either identify or deal with the superpower individuals who are holding Nigeria by the jugular? President Tinubu refers to those elites of the elite. Just a moment, Dumebi, to the subsidy thieves. They are thieves, yet we do not know them. If you recall, in 2012, the current NSA, Nuri Badu, chaired a committee for President Goodluck Jonathan and identified the fact that government officials, colluded with subsidy thieves. We have names of people who are benefiting from terrorism, who are super rich. Not one person has been arrested or prosecuted. Now we're dealing with oil thefts. Is this how Nigeria will be jinxed? That elected governments can deal with super power individuals that are holding Nigeria by the jugular?
Well, one positive sign we can look to or say is the fact is how the current NSA, in the person of Nuhu Ribadu, reported, reacted to this when he heard about this a few days ago, that he gave Tantita operatives support to ensure that they were not killed while they were doing their legitimate duties. You know, so that says a lot about the body language of this administration. But beyond that, when we see that someone has been sacked and is being prosecuted, then we can heave a sigh of relief. I will tell you that under President Jonathan, the same Tantita operatives then arrested a minister who stolen products were traced to his tank. But again, Nigeria happened and we've not heard anything about that. This same individual is said to be involved in a lot of the shady operations going on in the theft of crude. The individuals who are behind this are waltzing around and within the corridors of power. President Bola Tinubu, who is now a president without a godfather, has nothing to fear. Nigerians expect him to make serious arrests and prosecution so that this comes to an end. Nigerians will not let go of Ibenko Global and this Prazel vessel until we know the truth concerning this. We will not. We will keep on asking questions every day until the government reacts and does something about this. We will not accept the statement of the Navy, seeing the discrepancies between what they've said and what Tantita has put out. Let the presidency, the NSA, and other agencies look into this and let us know what is going on. We must put a stop to this. Let me tell you why crude theft is even worse than subsidy. It comes with degradation of the environment. Go to that region and see how the people are suffering. The environment is polluted. Illegal refineries, busting of pipes, and what have you, wellheads. It's a crying shame. It destroys our environment. It destroys the livelihood of these people. We must all come together and speak with one voice. A few individuals cannot continue to carry away our common patrimony, and we are all suffering. I don't know about you guys in Lagos studio there, but I'm suffering. I'm feeling the effects of subsidy removal. I'm feeling the effects on salaries I have to pay and seeing my workers with gloomy faces every day. And we cannot continue to accept that, oh, you know what, this is our lot. This is another problem, we must move on. No. We know the people behind this. Let's go after them. We must continue to speak about this.
Well, all right. Maybe Kachikwu would like to thank you very much for your contribution on the morning show.